So this morning's meditation is, it's going to be a very grounding meditation, I hope, but really in the context of where we are right now. I suppose a certain amount of stability and steadiness was cultivated over the last number of weeks when we were sheltering at home, not venturing out too far, and somehow we sort of accommodate to that. And now there's new restrictions being lifted and the possibility of going out and about a little bit more. So I think there's more sort of unease in some people, lots of people around, more opportunities to be in touch with people that we haven't been in touch with. So I think the possibility of having a sort of background unease, a sort of background restlessness and a sort of vigilance that maybe had shut down a little bit over the last number of weeks. So moving into this new territory, I think, brings with it the possibility of greater vigilance and that kind of underlying fear. So once that is there in the background, it's very easy to trigger a sort of rush of sort of a flood of adrenaline into the system when we get started. So this meditation is going to be done standing up and for a certain amount of time, and then we'll sit down again. And I guess I've found it very helpful myself. And the last time I used it in context was when I was on retreat recently for a month, and with no access to the outside communication. And after 3 weeks, we were called to a meeting and told that there was a pandemic outside. And when I entered the retreat, there was no COVID in Ireland. So I was hugely shocked. I couldn't believe it. I had a certain amount of composure, stillness, steadiness, and then suddenly this rush of unease. I mean, it was very, very strong. So I did this meditation, and I could really feel going from, that kind of rattled feeling to just steady, 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 steady. And at the end, there was just real peace, calm, ease, and I felt, it's never come back again. So it's a meditation that really helps you to ground yourself. But it does take a certain amount of confidence in the practice and a sort of a trust that it can be helpful. And generally, when you've done it once and found the benefit, it gives you confidence to do it again. So we just do it for a short period now, but remembering that it really is based on mindfulness. So the ability to pay attention very acutely to what you're being invited to pay attention to. And, in the meditation, you'll find that, your mind gets busy or whatever, and I'll just keep guiding you back again and again to something very, very simple. So we will be standing up. So for those of you who might have balance problems, vertigo problems, aches and pains, or some restrictions on standing still, it can be more helpful if you hold a chair. A chair is almost like a third leg for you, gives you a bit more stability. But if you're able to stand unsupported, that's fine. And I'll invite you now to do just that, to stand up, and I'll guide you through it. So for those of you who might have just come in, this is going to be a standing meditation, but very specifically devoted to paying attention to your feet. So as you stand here now, this beginning part is helpful now, but if you're using this meditation when you're really rattled, really restless, really uncomfortable, you can skip this first bit. But for now, if you can allow your feet to be flat on the ground, about as far apart as your shoulders, and making sure that as you're standing here, you actually feel some balance. And if not, you might hold a chair or stand by the wall. And if you feel comfortable closing your eyes, that's fine. And if you prefer to have your eyes open, maybe taking them away from the screen and lowering your gaze. So as you stand here now, seeing if you can really feel the sort of skeleton of your body, the boniness, the very hard parts. And around those bony, harder parts are the softer muscles, the skin. And bringing your attention to your spine and seeing if you can allow yourself to become a little taller as you stretch up your spine and allowing your spine to go right up through your neck to the base of your skull. So your head is balanced on the neck connected to the spine. And then allowing your shoulders to drop. And just a little scan to see if there's any obvious tension that may be unnecessary right now. Your jaw doesn't really need to be tense when you're standing here. Your tongue can relax. And if your spine is holding you steady, your tummy can relax. The front of your body can soften, more receptive. And you might notice that ribs need to be somewhat tense to hold you up. And bringing your attention right the way down to your feet. And if you were doing this meditation because you felt really disturbed, really restless, really edgy, fearful, this is the part where you could start. So allowing your attention to really come down to your feet on the ground. And starting with your right foot, where can you feel the most pressure? What part of your foot? Exploring for a moment which part of your foot is taking the most weight. Maybe the ball of your foot, the outside edge, your heel. Is there a part of your right foot that feels as if it's not touching anything? And then shifting your attention very intentionally over to the left foot. And noticing which part of the left foot is most experiencing the pressure of the body. Your big toe, ball of your foot, your heel, taking an interest in what part of your left foot is taking the most pressure of the body. And noticing if there's some part of this foot that's perhaps not touching anything. And then feeling the pressure balanced on both feet. Allowing the body to really settle on your feet, on the ground, on the earth. And if you can follow for the next 10 minutes this piece of the practice, this is really where the disturbed feeling in the body, the agitation, sort of coursing around the body of adrenaline and cortisol, this is where it can begin to settle if you follow this piece with real interest, diligence, focus, and confidence. So allowing your weight to very, very slowly shift on to your right foot, very slowly. So there is no rush, but there's a deep interest in what it feels like to shift the pressure onto your right foot. So just feeling millimeter by millimeter as your weight goes onto your right foot. Just noticing. Really keeping your attention close to the sensations in the bottom of your right foot. And then noticing what happens when you intentionally start shifting the weight back very, very slowly through the center. You haven't crossed over to the left foot yet. Just passing through the sort of center of balance. And then allowing your weight to rest slowly, slowly on your left foot. Really feeling that transition. Very slow, very deliberate attention. And feeling the pressure on the bottom of your left foot. And now very, very slowly shifting the weight again away from the left foot through the center of balance and allowing your weight to very slowly, very deliberately come to the right foot. What can you feel in your right foot? Really allowing your attention, your focus to be on the sensations that you experience right now as you lean on your right foot. And in your own time, seeing if you can now find a rhythm for yourself of slowly shifting and swaying your weight from one foot to the next. So this is it. There's nothing more. This is the meditation. Not looking for anything dynamic, anything more interesting. Just the body swaying slowly from one foot to the next. And being aware if any tension is arising in the body somewhere that's not really necessary. Keeping a softness around the boniness of the body. When your attention moves away from your feet, becoming aware of that, but not entertaining the distraction. Coming back to a commitment to really feeling your body and the weight shifting very slowly from one foot to the next. Just that much. Seeing if you can really relax into this. Resting as the weight stabilizes on one foot. And then a little moment of choice to shift the weight. Seeing if you can really feel the groundedness of your feet on the floor, touching the earth, steady, stable, secure. And if your attention is really focused on the sensations in the feet, you'll notice that the mind has slowed down. Your interest is taken up with something at the other end of the body to the mind and the thinking. The very dynamic and real experience of the feet, sensations, swaying, as with any meditation, the mind will perhaps get restless, want to do something different, some inner commentary or narrative. I'm just noticing that. It's interesting. And allowing your attention to very wholeheartedly move back down to the simplicity of the feeling of the weight of the body on the feet. Dynamic, changing. Settling into this for another minute. As best you can, finding ease within this movement. No struggle, no pressure. Being with the sensations, the change, the movement. And now, allowing your body to find the center point again. Slowing the movement. And as you come returning to the center place. Seeing if there's any part of the body that's tensed that might soften and relax as you notice it. Allowing your attention to be very focused again on your feet. Standing now, not moving. Relaxing your toes if they're tense. Standing and knowing you're standing. And noticing now, how is this body-mind in this moment? The thoughts, the actual physical body, how is it? Is there any awareness of the emotion that might be present, the sort of background mood as you rest here? And now I invite you to open your eyes if they've been closed, and very, very slowly take your seat again, seeing if you can allow this very slow movement to accompany you back to your sitting position, taking your time. And as you take your seat, if you can lower your gaze or close over your eyes, allowing your feet to be flat on the ground if that's suitable for you right now. And just allowing the body to settle in the sitting posture. Your spine straight, arms relaxed, belly soft. Sitting and knowing you're sitting and breathing. Simply being here and knowing it. Seeing the possibility of accessing some inner stability and calm, steadiness and composure, simply by sitting and knowing you're sitting. No urgency to be doing anything else, allowing yourself to rest right now. And before I ring the bell, reflecting back on this last practice we've done together, just inquiring of yourself, do you feel it was in some way beneficial to you? What's the quality of your experience now as you've completed it? And is there any situation that you feel all or part of such a practice might indeed be of some support to you? And if you can take this practice, if there's any greater stability or composure, quietness, steadiness, the possibility of taking that like a little thread with you through the day, bringing the thread with you as part of the weaving of a tapestry of greater steadiness and stillness, and really knowing that if you can be a little more stable, a little more anchored, a little more grounded, those that you share your spaces with will feel it. So the thread gets passed on to them. And if each of us can be a little beacon of stability in these days of tremendous uncertainty, it's really a gift that we can give to people, give to ourselves, give to others. And if we can go out into the day with some sort of confidence that our virtue of kindness, compassion, steadiness can be of value, it's the very opposite to going out into the world with the fear of this virus that just sets it on edge again. So taking any thread of value with you today, and the way you can remind yourself that this thread of steadiness can be with you is by reminding yourself that your feet are more or less always on the ground. And once you bring your attention down to feeling that experience, in that moment you feel grounded. You're present, you're steady. And then you move into the next moment with more ease, less reactivity. And then the words and actions that come from you are coming from a place of this inner ease and calm rather than reactivity. It's a gift to all. Before I finish, I'm just going to read a tiny piece from a wonderful book called Everyday Gratitude by Brother Stendhal Rast. In this meditation that he says, feeling gratitude. Oh no, that's the wrong page. Yeah. When life feels too big to handle, go outside. Everything looks smaller when you're standing under the sky. So when life feels too big to handle, go outside. Everything looks smaller when you're standing under the sky. And then the little reflection with that is, what new perspective arises when I do gaze at the sky?